Hello everyone, my name is Maunu, and today I am making the video over my travelogue and where I went to for Nebraska History 2021. I will be looking at all the places that I went to and kind of a background of what they were, and then finally just my experience with it and how it has changed my viewpoint on Nebraska settlement. I went to these 6 different places in the mind of that they are connected to military and Native Americans slash POW camps and kind of that look on like Nebraska history. So the first one I went to was Fort Robinson. It was created in 1876 and ended in 1890. It housed soldiers and canine dogs were trained there, and they also had a German POW camp. And then we went to the Flight of Cheyennes, right close to it, basically. And what this marker showed is kind of the place where the Cheyenne tried to escape Fort Robinson in 1879. Beyond the sign was the river that they would have crossed to flee from Fort Robinson. And according to the marker, it said that 27 Cheyenne were killed and 5 soldiers were killed as well, which was really sad. Next, I went to the German POW camp. It is kind of cool. It was one of the first POW camps in Nebraska, and it was made in 1943. Prisoners were allowed to farm there, so you could see right now some of the different houses that they would have been in, like the foundations are still there a little bit, and also these green rectangular spots, which I assume is where they were able to garden a little bit, and possibly after that they would have farmed bigger places. But I think that's where it would have been for farming just use. And the camp ended in 1945. Then we went to Red Cloud Agency. It was established in 1873 and it housed about 13,000 people. Mostly were Native American. Some were also helpers of Native Americans. And beyond this marker, there was like a monument up there, up on the hill a little bit, made out of rock. And around this monument, there were like little signs on little wooden pegs, and they showed where the different houses would have been. And it was kind of fascinating to see like those pegs to see like which house would be where in the settlement. And it was relocated in 1877, so it was no longer used. Then the next one is my personal favorite. It was the council tree. It is also called the treaty tree, and it's where Allison Commission met with the Lakota and tried to make a treaty with them in 1875. Sadly, the tree died in 1970. I would have loved to see it, but they have a post still there to show where it would have been, which is still pretty cool to see how much of a distance that would have been to the marker that's there now. And then finally we went to the Pine Ridge Indian Agency Road. It was a road created in 1874 and it was in between the different the post and the agency. It is also where Crazy Horse died on the way to Fort Robinson, and the site or the road was just a way for people to get supplies there and back from the agency and the post there. And after saying all that, I wanted to share some things, I guess, on what my view of the history of settlement is now. The first thing that, after looking at these different things, showed me was that how much it made me realize how close I was to the past. Like thinking about how in this spot right here, like the Flight of the Cheyenne, I was close enough to be able to see the river, and like it made me wonder if I was standing in the same spot that maybe some people were running for their lives in. And it was kind of fascinating to think about that, like how these markers were still holding an event to that place still. And it was like kind of a cool experience to, even though we have flat land and there's nothing great or really cool to look at there, just that sense of something happening there is still fascinating to me. It showed me that I'm standing near or even at a spot where a historical event has happened, and that was kind of cool to like bring it to the present. The next thing it showed me was that how tough people were back in those days, and like how that translates to present here now. Like how could they do some of these things? Like how could they bring stuff to Nebraska and make a life there and be able to like survive the sandhills, and questioning if I could do that, and I probably would not be able to have the stamina or the determination to do that. But these people did, and I am extremely grateful for that. And the last thing that it made me realize was how much I appreciate their effort and what they had done in the past to bring us into the future now. Now, were some of those things the best things? No. Like, some of the things that happened to the Native Americans and other people were not the greatest thing. But we can still learn from that, and we can still move on from the past to the future and make it better. And that's what I really appreciated, was that even though there's good stuff and bad stuff mixed together in the past, they still kept on going forward. And now we're in the present here now. And we have this opportunity to keep the legacy going and also learn from those mistakes as well, if there's any. So in conclusion, that's it. That's my travel log, where I went and what the historical markers were about, and how it has changed my perspective on historical settlement. And I hope you guys have a good day.